to extend a warm welcome to everyone present here. First of all, please allow me to introduce the leaders and the guests for today's forum. They are the Director of China EU Energy Innovation Cooperation Office, Mr. Fang Xiaosong, and the party member of the Science and Technology Bureau of Chengdu, Mr. Chen Shu, and Matt Ashworth, Commercial Counselor for Energy and Infrastructure, Department of International Trade, UK. Denise Wilkins, Director of China of German Trade and Investment. The Business Counselor, Mr. Ma Ruijie, the Chief Information Officer from Three Gorges Corporation. Deputy Director of State Grid Zhejiang Electric Power, Double Innovation Center, Mr. Zhu Chengzhi. The Director of Tianfu New Area, Mr. Liu Yi from the Tsinghua University Institute, and we also have Mr. Liu Yi, General Manager of Schneider Electric's China Corporation Alliance and Digital Ecosystem. And we also have friends from all sectors, including academia. And let's give a warm round of applause to everyone present here today. And the China-EU cooperation has a long history since our establishment of the diplomatic relations. Our cooperation has always been a steady growth. And the Tsinghua Sichuan Energy Internet Research Institute has always promoted the open cooperation in terms of renewable energy. And this year, we are very honored to host this forum. And this forum was sponsored by and supported by a lot of relative authorities and institutes. And now I would like to give the floor to Fang Xiaosong, Director of China EU Energy Innovation Cooperation Office, to deliver a welcome speech. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, good afternoon. First of all, on behalf of the China EU Innovation Technology Innovation Cooperation Office, to extend warm congratulations to the opening of the forum and a warm welcome to everyone present. China has always listed innovation as the power for the development of energy. And we have also have a complete energy chain in terms of project investment and energy construction. We have rich experience. As the energy transformation accelerates, we have further demand for the energy transformation and energy innovation, which provide a huge market. EU is a pioneer in terms of energy transformation, and it is also a key player and innovative engine for the energy innovation. And in terms of innovative energy and energy transformation, EU has rich experience. All in all, EU and China has a lot of is complementary in terms of energy innovation. In the future, we will strengthen our cooperation and draw upon each other's experience to reach the breakthrough of key technology. This forum focuses on smart energy, green development, and we discuss the development and opportunities of the EU-China Energy Innovation Cooperation. We will also do some matchmaking for the demand and intention for EU-China cooperation. We believe that this forum will effectively provide a platform for the exchange and communication between EU and China. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce our office to you. to implement the related files such as the China EU Energy Cooperation statement. We actually is in charge of the overall planning of the energy, and currently we have already entrusted certain agencies to establish the 4 working groups, including hydrogen energy and the smart energy, energy storage, and the wind power, solar power. And we have also cooperate with the Tsinghua Sichuan Energy Institutes and then state grid of Zhejiang and the Double Innovation Center. Next, we will center around the following aspect. The first is the focus on the energy transformation. We will build on the need for the long-term and the medium-term need for the transformation of energy to give full play to the strength of Chinese manufacturing and the scale of the market, and to promote the energy transformation, and then to scale the production and the application of the energy transformation. And the second, we will also have innovative cooperation means. We will serve for the growth of the SMEs in the sector of energy innovation. We will organize China EU Energy Innovation Demonstration Project, and in order to promote the rollout and application of the innovative technology in order to achieve the deepen in-depth integration of the enterprise in 2 countries. And third is we would like to build a long-term mechanism. We will build normalize the communication and the cooperation mechanism to build a platform for the cooperation of different projects. We'll organize advanced technology training and people exchange among personnel and skilled workers. And we also like to have a pilot applications in order to provide support for the technology R&D and the project cooperation. All in all, we wish that with our joint efforts, we will further promote the innovation in the technology operation between China and EU. Finally, I wish the forum a complete success. Thank you.
Thank you for your remarks. Chengdu, as the highland for the open up in the west of China, and it has become a very important hub for the foreign exchange and the communications. And for this conference, it has been greatly supported by the leaders from the Chengdu Municipal Bureau of S&T. Now let's give floor to Mr. Chen Ju, the Deputy Director of the Chengdu Municipal Bureau of Science and Technology. Mr. Chen Xu, the floor is yours. Honorable delegates, ladies and gentlemen, friends, good afternoon. I felt delighted to be happily get together in the city of Chengdu and then jointly take part in the China EU Forum on Green Energy and the Green Development. And hereby, on behalf of the Chengdu Municipal Bureau of the S&T, express a sincere welcome. And my best thanks also go to the friends. Thank you for your long-term support. In the year of 2020, the GDP of the Chengdu realized about 1.77 trillion RMB, ranking number 7 across the nation, which has been ranked number 1 for 7 straight years as the most attractive city to the business investment, and for 12 straight years to be ranked number 1 in terms of the happiness of the city, and for 5 straight years, Chengdu ranked as the first tier city. And according to the survey, the population, according to census, the population of Chengdu has exceeded more than 20 million, especially in the past 10 years. The newly increased population of the Chengdu amounted to about 5.82 million. which has demonstrated the full prosperity and vigor of the Chengdu city. Now, in accordance with the arrangement of the central government, we are pushing forward to the establishment of the Science and Technology City and to build national S&T center and to allocate the resources factors for the entrepreneurs and the innovative enterprises and to create the highly transforming and innovation systems as well. Chengdu has enjoyed a very favorable business environment. We have been benchmarking the evaluation system of the business environment by the World Bank and forging ahead with the reshaping and reforming of the business environment. Chengdu has won the award of 2020, the most renowned city in terms of the business investment, and Chengdu has very well-functioned industry systems. We have had about 58 industry function zones, and we are constructing the 5+5 industry layouts, and we are prioritize the new advanced industries such as the smart manufacturing, the live service industries, and the conference and exhibitions, and we are accelerating the construction of the 5G clean energy and renewable energy and the new economy, which featuring the opening up. Chengdu has enjoyed the very outstanding features of the openness. On the July 27th of the 2021, the Tianfu International Airport has been put in operation. Chengdu has become the third city hosting the twin airports. And with regard to the freight trains of the China Chengdu to EU railways, we have more than 10,000 in this regard. And we have established the trade ties with more than 100 countries. We have about 135 Fortune 500 enterprises found their presence in Chengdu. Now we have the China, Korea, Singapore, Sichuan, China, France, China, German national industry parks revolving around the energy conservation, cultural innovation, internet, to carry out the international cooperation so as to promote the congregation of the different high-end elements and factors. We are endeavoring to, before the year of 2030, to achieve the carbon peak and to realize the targets of the carbon neutrality by the year of 2060. This is a very important decision made by President Xi Jinping, and it's also the very important requirement of the high-quality development. The low carbon and sustainable city is a very important vehicle to realize the low carbon and green development. With regard to the sustainable development and new energy, we have a lot of potentials. We have many universities and higher education institutions. We have very strong support from industry. We have the city spirits featuring the openness and the inclusiveness. We are also working on to pull the wisdom and prosperity from across the globe. We sincerely hope the entrepreneurs can actively engage with Chengdu in terms of the innovation and the new energy and to feel the impact of the development of Chengdu. The previous visiting card of Chengdu is once you come, you never want to leave, which illustrates the casual culture and the gastronomies of the Chengdu. Now Chengdu is working on to cultivate the new image of the park city at the foot of the snowy mountains. Let's join hands to deepen cooperation and jointly construct the wonderful future of the green development. Finally, I'd like to wish the great success of the conference. Thank you for your listening. Thank you, Mr. Chen. Openness and cooperation is the very important elements of the dual circular development. It's our honor to invite leaders from the China and the European government to share with about the best thoughts and opportunities regarding the smart and the new energy. Now, firstly, let's give floor to Mr. Matt Ashworth, the Commercial Councillor of Energy and Infrastructure, the Department of the International Trade, UK. Mr. Matt Ashworth, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Yes, so I'm Matt Ashworth. I'm the Commercial Councillor for Energy and Infrastructure at the British Embassy in Beijing. Very pleased to be joining you to speak at today's event, and also delighted that we have other UK representatives with you, including Ceres Power, to share their expertise on green hydrogen and the energy transition. So today, my remarks will focus on the UK's clean growth story, how we have supported new energy developments and the successes and challenges along the way. As we recover from the coronavirus pandemic, we owe it to current and future generations to base our recovery on solid foundations, including a fairer, greener, and more resilient economy. Our path to a zero carbon economy must also be fair and inclusive and create the global resilience we need to fight climate change. As the hosts of the UN Climate Change Conference, which will be held in Glasgow in November, the UK is putting clean growth at the heart of our political and commercial agenda, drawing on the expertise and leadership to showcase the best of energy and climate innovation. The Prime Minister has created a 10-point plan for a green industrial revolution in the United Kingdom, which puts combating climate change and creating green jobs at the heart of government policy. Covering 10 priority areas, including clean energy, transport, nature, and innovative technologies like hydrogen, the plan will mobilise £12 billion of government investment to create and support up to 250,000 highly skilled green jobs in the UK and spur over 3 times as much private sector investment by 2030. This work comes at a key moment in the global transition to a zero carbon economy. Across the world, including in the UK and in China, we are creating plans to reach mid-century net zero targets. Whilst progress has been made, we still have a long way to go. 2,000 gigawatts of coal power is currently in operation globally, and the International Energy Agency estimates that global transition to clean power needs to progress 4 to 6 times faster than at present if we are to meet our Paris goals. Whilst this is a significant challenge, the policy and technical innovation needed to achieve this rapid change also presents significant opportunities, and the UK is ready to cooperate with other global leaders in this space, including by sharing the lessons learned from our own transition. It is estimated that $11.5 trillion will be invested in new power generation assets up to 2050, and the UK is not short of opportunity. The UK's National Infrastructure and Construction Pipeline has identified investment required to the tune of £137 billion in energy and £12 billion in utilities. For the UK, new energy development has truly been a story of clean growth, part of a wider story, of course, including green finance, manufacturing, sustainable infrastructure, and urban development. Since 1990, the UK has grown its economy by 2/3, whilst reducing emissions by 42%. This progress has been aided by the falling costs of many low-carbon technologies. For example, renewable power sources like solar and wind are now comparable in cost to coal and gas. As a result of this technological innovation, new high-value jobs, industries, and companies have been created. There are more than 430,000 jobs in low-carbon businesses and their supply chains, employing people across the United Kingdom. And the actions and investments that will be needed to meet carbon neutrality commitments will ensure the shift to clean growth will be at the forefront of policy and economic decisions made by governments and businesses in the coming decades. This creates enormous potential economic opportunity, both in terms of investment, but also green trade. And UK companies are very active across this space in China, with a wealth of goods and services to offer, from engineering solutions to city solutions to financial and professional services. The UK's energy mix has transformed during this period of clean growth. Over the last few decades, the UK has moved from a society that was dependent on coal for over 80% of its electricity needs to one that now uses less than 2% of coal for its power generation. And Britain's electricity system recorded its greenest month ever last May, running without coal-fired electricity for a full calendar month. And with only 4 coal power plants still in operation across the country, we expect to achieve our target to phase out all unabated coal power by 2024, a year earlier than planned. To achieve this rapid change in our energy mix, the UK has used all tools available to support new energy developments. Our recent Clean Growth strategy sets out a comprehensive set of policies and proposals that aim to accelerate this pace of this clean growth, to deliver increased economic growth and decreased emissions in support of our net zero 2050 target. The energy transition in the UK is directly contributing to our levelling up agenda, by which we mean more evenly spreading economic growth across the whole UK. And we also expect this can only enhance the UK low carbon energy value chain. The UK government has played a vital role in driving this forward, including by setting legally binding targets and commitments, such as the 2008 Climate Change Act and our 2050 net zero announcement, which helps to provide direction for industry and set long-term strategic priorities. We have established an independent energy regulator to help ensure healthy competition in energy markets, whilst maintaining security and affordable supply. The UK has also created innovative government-supported subsidy systems to help support the growth of new technologies at an increasingly low cost. Aside from setting policy, supporting innovation has also been critical to our success. And it is only through innovation, nurturing better products, processes, and systems that we will see the cost of clean technologies come down. Our Clean Growth strategy set out plans to invest £2.5 billion in clean technology up to 2021, including in smart systems, renewables, clean heating, electric vehicles, batteries, and industry and CCUS. This investment does not just go to basic research, but is deployed at different levels. For example, our Catapult network connects business to the UK's excellent research and academic communities, providing access to expert technical capabilities, equipment, and other resources required to take new technologies from inception to deployment. We have 3 energy-related catapults, one of which has already set up a centre in China to help share best practice and expand the UK's green goods. The UK is also working collaboratively as a core member of Mission Innovation, a group of leading countries which aims to drive forward clean energy innovation on a global scale. Of course, as governments, we cannot predict every technological breakthrough that will help us meet our targets. Instead, we create the best possible environment for the private sector to innovate and invest. Our approach builds on the UK's strengths, ensuring we are the best place for innovators and new businesses to start up and grow. And we have designed competitive markets and smart regulation to support entrepreneurs and investors who will develop the new technologies. We've seen great results with over £92 billion invested in clean energy in the UK since 2010. Many Chinese companies, for example, have invested in the UK's energy sector, including in offshore wind and energy storage. The UK is also the world's green finance hub, having established the world's first green investment bank. An example of our approach to clean energy development in action can be seen in our electricity market, recognising the need for proper regulatory oversight and the importance of separation of powers for maintaining competition and health and safety standards. And Britain was at the forefront of the transition to a market-based approach for its energy markets. The UK created natural monopoly regulation and established regulatory authorities for the energy sector, whilst also using privatisation to unleash competition and market innovation. Then in 2013, the UK government committed to a series of electricity market reforms in order to deliver the low carbon energy and reliable supplies that the UK needs, whilst minimising the costs to consumers. These reforms introduced 2 key mechanisms to provide incentives for the investment required in our energy infrastructure. Contracts for difference, providing long-term price stabilisation to low-carbon plants, and a capacity market designed to help ensure security of supply at the least cost to the consumer. Our offshore wind sector has directly benefited from strong government support and these broader electricity market reforms. The offshore wind sector deal has been key in reinforcing the aims of the government's industrial strategy to build a Britain fit for the future. And this has led to great success, 20 years ago, the UK had 2 offshore wind turbines powering just 2,000 homes. And today we have 10.1 gigawatts installed, which will rise to 19.5 gigawatts by the mid-2020s. We have seen great results with the costs of offshore wind continuing to fall. And based on this downward trend in costs, we could see offshore wind contributing up to 30 gigawatts of capacity by 2030. In return, we expect the sector to continue cutting costs, committing to lower their impact on bill payers while investing in and driving growth in the UK's manufacturing base. As we've discussed here, the UK has come a long way in its new energy development, but hitting our net zero targets and expanding the low carbon economy will not be easy. We have achieved significant results in the power and waste sectors and now need to replicate this success across the economy, particularly in the transport, business and industrial sectors. We also need to reduce the emissions created by heating our homes and businesses, which account for almost a third of the UK's emissions. So although we've made significant progress, we know we can't afford to relax. We need to continue supportive innovation and investment using all the tools available to us. And our recently published hydrogen strategy is another example of the importance the government attaches to this. So I'm very pleased to join you online today to share the UK's clean growth story with you. And I hope we can identify further opportunities for policy and commercial collaboration in this important field. 谢谢.
Thank you for Mr. Matthews' promotion. Germany is the pioneer in terms of smart energy and energy transformation. And today we have the honor to invite Denise Wilkins, the Director of China for the German Trade and Investment.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear distinguished guests, thank you very much for your invitation to the outstanding EU-China Smart Energy and Green Development Forum, which provides an outstanding program and list of participants and speakers. Thank you very much. It's an honor to speak here today on behalf of Germany Trade and Invest in regards to exploring opportunities and to be able to present green energy transition in Germany and the opportunities that it brings in that cooperation. I will quickly introduce us, Germany Trade and Invest, where we're from and what we do, and then focus on renewable energies transition, in German called Energiewende, and especially the market opportunities that it brings for companies internationally and especially from China. A quick word to us. Germany Trade and Invest is the Federal Economic Development Agency of Germany. With our trade part, we support German companies to go abroad and to China. And in the invest part, where I'm from, we support international companies to come to Germany, especially in the green energy field and green field investments. We have industry specialists that you can see here in our teams in a variety of fields, including battery manufacturing, solar photovoltaic manufacturing, wind power, new energy vehicles, and so forth. Germany Trade and Invest belongs to the German Ministry of Economic Affairs and Energy. We have offices in over 50 countries and 3 in China, in Beijing, Shanghai, and Hong Kong. I'm from Beijing. We support international companies in greenfield investments by providing information and directly a practical example, where we supported Fengchao Nengyuan, Eswald, last year announced battery manufacturing in Germany, and that's something where we as Germany Trade and Invest support on behalf of the German government. But now to renewable energies transition, or Energiewende as we call it in Germany, the current status, and then it's a second step for the outlook and market opportunities. Energiewende, as we call it in German, energy transition, is Germany's effort to reduce greenhouse gas emission without relying on nuclear energy. This includes electricity generation, buildings, industry, transportation, agriculture, and many sectors more. By now, renewable energies account for 46% of gross electricity generation in Germany, in already a success story, from 5% in 1998 to 46% in last year, 2020. Within that, wind energy has the largest share, followed by biomass and photovoltaics. A picture just to show you the transition. This is the landscape for wind energy, biomass, and photovoltaics in Germany in 2000. And this is last year in 2020, what happened within 20 years. Wind energy can be found especially in the northern parts and especially also offshore in the North Sea, and photovoltaics rather in the southern parts. In order to achieve climate goals, the government goal for 2020 was 35%, but we are ahead at 46%. And the goal for 2030 is 65%. The reason why I'm presenting you this is to show that there are long-term opportunities in Germany based on a continuous upward trend in green energy in Germany, in line with European goals to carbon neutrality and climate protection. Now, examples for specific market opportunities. The pillars in renewable energy market transformation in Germany are energy efficiency and reduction of energy demand overall, electrification and development of renewable electricity, development of hydrogen as an energy carrier and feedstock. So the first point, energy efficiency. For example, in the building sector. Due to this, we see market changes and opportunities in regards to efficiency measures, for example, in isolation and energy usage products. Further, in regards to buildings and heating. Here you can see heating system sales in Germany by different types. We can see more sales in 2020 and a trend towards heat pumps and biomass, especially. And now to opportunities in wind and wind power generation. Germany has the highest wind power capacity in total in Europe, and we are home to many wind energy related companies. On the one hand side, from Germany, and on the other hand side, also proudly from international companies that are in Germany active and have a foothold there. Wind power generation is a market for further growth. Here are expansion targets for offshore wind power generation in Germany. In light gray, you can see the upcoming tender volume for 2030 and 2040 for offshore wind power generation. And here you can see the corresponding prediction for onshore wind power generation until 2030, an upward trend as well. For photovoltaics, here the development for photovoltaic systems in Germany, there's strong and stable growth for photovoltaics installation in recent years. Here are further opportunities. Electricity vehicle car registration numbers in Germany see an upward and exponential growth trend in Germany, and we can see relevant interest from companies from China in that field in regards to the German market. Here, this provides also opportunities in regards to smart charging infrastructure. The government goal is to have over 1 million charging stations by 2030. Last but not least, based on Germany's national hydrogen strategy, hydrogen will become a central pillar in achieving Germany's climate protection targets. For example, hydrogen production, hydrogen use in transport, for example, buses and trucks, carbon neutrality in industry, for example, use of hydrogen for steel manufacturing. In summary, Germany's energy market will look different by 2035 and provides opportunities for a variety of companies that want to gain a foothold and a representation in Germany, especially in battery manufacturing, electric vehicles, heat pumps, smart changing and smart storage, and so forth. Contact our team in China, in Beijing, Shanghai, and Hong Kong, or me here today if you have further questions, or also in our headquarters directly, Mr. Grigolite, who is head of our environment department for debt investors in Germany, in Berlin. We welcome to be in touch with you. Thank you very much for the opportunity and for the invitation.
谢谢朱德威先生的推荐。
Thank you, Mr. The Dennis introduction. The Tianfu area as the first place for the Park City Committee to building the Chinese plan featuring the green development. And now let's give floor to Mr. Li Weiwei, the Deputy Director of the Bureau of International Cooperation, the Sichuan Tianfu Area Management Committee. Li Weiwei, the floor is yours. Honorable Director Fang Xiaosong and Deputy Director Chen Xu, honorable leaders, guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I felt very delighted to be here to share with you about the basic facts of TFNA and to jointly discuss our friendship and look into the future. The Sichuan Tianfu area is located in the southwest of China with a planned total area of 1,578 square kilometers. And this is a new area approved in the year of 2014. And which at the same time, which is a very important node for the construction of the BRI and the development of Yangtze River Economic Belt, and now is building an open economic highland in the inland of China. As we know, the Chengdu, where the TFNA located, has a history of more than 4,000 years of civilization and 2,300 years of city building. It is hometown of the giant panda and the most important economic, technological, financial, cultural, creative center, and a comprehensive transportation and communication hub in the Western China. It has great market potential, enriched in the financial resources and with the pooling of the high-end talents, and it has also enjoyed the prominent location advantages. In accordance with the World City List by the GAWC, Chengdu is the only city in China that has been selected as a Beta Plus, ranking 59th in the world, which is at the same level as Vancouver, Washington, Berlin, and Hamburg and Rome. And according to the list of the commercial charms of the Chinese cities, Chengdu has been ranking number 1 for the 6th straight years among the new first-tier city. Tianfu area hosted 2 international airports, and the Shuangliu International Airport has 131 international routes reaching the world with an annual passenger throughput of 56 million passengers, ranking the 3rd in the global market. A global airport in 2020. The Tianfu International Airport was officially opened on June with the passengers throughput of about 90 million. As the westward opening city from 2013 to 2020, the number of the China-Europe trains reached more than 60,000, connecting 55 overseas cities and 16 domestic cities. And we have setting up the several overseas liaison offices in Nuremberg, Prague, Hamburg, and Warsaw. On February 11th of 2018, President Xi Jinping inspected the Tianfu area, and he proposed the concept of the Park City. And Tianfu area is going to be a practitioner and will provide a Chinese plan for the systemic development of the world cities. Approved and became the national level new area. The TFNA has maintained the high-speed development. In the year of 2020, the regional GDP amounted to $54.4 billion in 2020, and the TFNA is the only national level new district with 2 international airports in China. And we have also covered about a high-speed railway station, a railway freight station, and 15 subway lines in the area, which has realized the full coverage of 500 meters of subway stations. And the Tianfu new area had the very enriched elements in terms of the landscape, forest, and lake, with 1,200 kilometers of ecological green ways linking the lakes and the rivers winding in the meantime. And we have the 70.1% of the ecological land meets the lakes and intertwined with blue and green. And as we know, we have introduced several international medical service institutions, opened the international insurance settlement business, and built the kindergartens and the primary schools with the Singapore, with the Hamilton of New Zealand. And the Tianfu New Area Management Committee has set up the Tianfu Talent Plan and the Golden Panda Talent Plan with a special fund of 1 billion yuan for the talent development. And we also have built the innovative incubation centers such as the Microsoft Elite Talent Training and the Certification Base and the Ronggang, Hong Kong, and the Chengdu Young Talent Innovation and Entrepreneurship DreamWorks to attract more outstanding talents. And in order to accelerate the formation of the market-oriented rule by law and the international business environment, efforts are made to set up the TFNA Customs and Intellectual Property Approval Court, building a free trade experimental zone and a realized electronic export tax rebate of the enterprise. The TFNA gave the great priority to the three major supporting industries, namely the headquarters, economy, exhibition, and expo, and the Chengdu S&T City and the Tianfu Digital Cultural Creation City. And these three main function areas are supported by the government, and efforts are made to build an open economic highland facing the global allocation of resources and to build it into the most dynamic new growth pole in the West. The TFNA committed to building a global well-known enterprise clusters when we have introduced and attracted overseas well-known enterprises such as the ARM China, the RWE Nokia, Australia Collier Listening, and the Thai Group, and the China Railway, China Communication. And in the meantime, we also have extensive cooperation with the famous universities and scientific research institutions such as Tsinghua University, Peking University, Shanghai Jiao Tong University, and the Chinese Academy of Sciences. And this is the unicorn island we are building, which is the first industrial center focusing on the incubation and cultivation of the unicorn enterprises. And the planned land area is about 166 acres, and the Zaha Hadid office is responsible for the architectural design. The TFNA is actively expanding its circle of friends. In the year of 2019, we have established friendly and cooperative relations with the Royal House of Thailand. We also have been actively promote overseas distribution projects. We have established the 3 overseas liaison offices in Singapore, Hong Kong, and Macau, and set up the offshore investment center in Italy. Efforts are made to foster international communication platform and an industrial cooperation platform. The West China International Expo City and the Tianfu International Conference Center have been completed and put into operation. The reception room of the Sino-Italian Culture Exchange City has officially opened, and the construction of the Sino-Italian Culture Innovation Industrial Park and the Sichuan Hong Kong Design Creative Industry Park has been rapidly advanced. The Tianfu International Fund Town has become the number 2 the fund town in China, which has gathered a number of the foreign equity investment funds such as IDG and the Huasheng Taisheng. The TFNA area, the bonded logistics center, officially closed and operated in September 2019. And nearly 20 international supply chain enterprises have signed up contracts with TFNA authorities. The development is opportunity and innovation wins the future. We are looking forward to making the prosperous future with you. Thank you.
Thanks for Director Li's speech. Hydrogen power is a high efficient renewable energy, and it is a energy that well recognized by people. And we have also invited experts and scholars in this sector. And here comes the roundtable session. We have Mr. Jin Heping, Chief Information Office of China Three Gorges Group. And please be seated. Come to the stage. And we also have Zhu Chengzhi, Deputy Director of State Grid Zhejiang Electric Power Company Limited, Double Innovation Center. And we also have Wang Guoxiang, Vice Director of Cockerel Hydrogen. And we have Hao Zaishen, General Manager of Chengdu Sino High-Tech, and Tao Shiyong, General Manager of Sichuan Rongchuan New Energy, and also our moderator for this session, the Deputy Dean of Tsinghua Sichuan Energy Internet Research Institute. Thank you for the host, and thank you for our panelists. I'm very pleased to have the chance to discuss the green hydrogen power in this forum. And we firmly believe that green hydrogen power is going to be a very important component of the energy mix in the future. And we pay attention to the theme is green hydrogen power. Hydrogen power is different from the traditional green hydrogen power is different from the traditional hydrogen power. We have some cooperation and arrangements with the panelists. I haven't met Mr. Hu before, but we have cooperation. So I will introduce you to the relations between green hydrogen power and the panelists. And first of all, I will let the panelists introduce their agency. And first, we'll start with Mr. Jin, because hydrogen power is very important. We need a certain approach to change the hydrogen power and to other form of energy and store it. While we start with the Three Gorges Group, because Three Gorges Group is the largest clean energy supplier. And this is the first, Mr. Jin. And the second, we have also invited the Zhejiang State Grid Zhejiang Electric Power. We also serve for State Grid Zhejiang Electric Power Company Limited. And the transportation of hydrogen is very expensive. The transportation of electricity is very cheap, and therefore, second, we know that Director Zhu is also an expert of micro state grid. And also Mr. Wang, though we do not have a chance to have for the direct communication, but we know that so the electrolyzer is very important. The electrolytic cell is the key for the use of hydrogen. And also for Mr. Tao is doing the trains using hydrogen power. So he will talk about how to combine hydrogen power with rail transit. So we'll start with Mr. Jin, and spend 3 minutes time to introduce your agency. Distinguished guests and leaders, good afternoon. I'm My family name is Wang. I'm the Deputy Director of State Grid Zhejiang Electric Power. And at the same time, we also have a joint venture in Suzhou, which is called Coke Real. And so we have different stakeholders in our company. Our major projects is what the moderator said. Which is the alkaline water electrolyzer. So we have alkaline water and a PEP. So alkaline and the protein is quite different. And the green hydrogen will count a major part of the energy mix, but the currently green hydrogen power still counts a small part of the energy mix. So electricity is the origin. If we say green hydrogen power, our PV, our photovoltaic, and our water electricity. So from this perspective, our electrolyzer hydrogen, we want to reduce the containment of hydrogen and the consumption of electricity. On the other side, we want to enlarge. We would like to enlarge the size of electrolyzer. So our target is 3,000. So currently, under such circumstances, we'll increase the productivity and at the same time reduce energy consumption, and therefore to achieve energy efficiency and to contribute to the cutting of emission. Suzhou Jingli is actually from our is a very renowned enterprise in our market. So we expect that Mr. Wang would bring more. And the next is Mr. Zhu from the perspective of State Grid. Good afternoon, everyone. I am the Deputy Director of State Grid Zhejiang Electronic Power, and our company is also a double innovation center, a demonstration center. And currently, we know that the green hydrogen power is very popular, and we're responsible, and we're very honored that to undertake the 4 demonstration projects invested by our the State Grid Power Company Limited. The 4 projects has its own features. The first is in Kazhou Dacheng Island. We do renewable energy, green hydrogen projects, which is 1,000. So in Cixi, Ningbo City, we do a project of nuclear and hydrogen, and this is a 400 kilowatt project, and the target of this project is to realize the integration of hydrogen power and electricity. We will work closely with the State Grid through the microgrid and the electric transformer, how to achieve the effective energy transform. And in Lishui of Zhejiang City, which is also very beautiful, we have a project which is doing hydrogen, electricity, and biomass integration. And this project is 300 kilowatt. And in this process, hydrogen will also be transformed to as a carrier for the natural gas. In Hangzhou Industrial Park in Jiangzhou, we're also cooperating project the preparation of hydrogen and how to satisfy the demand of the use of hydrogen of the enterprise. And we also use it in a. So we'll see what kind of problem we will meet in this process. If everyone understand the energy industry, we know that the state grid is very capable, and the Zhejiang state grid power is the strongest. So when Director Zhu introduced these 4 projects, we understand it represents the integration of hydrogen and electricity demonstration project in China, and we hope we have more information. So next one, Mr. Jin from the Three Gorges. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm from Three Gorges Group. So our group is the biggest hydrogen power group. We take the water, electricity, and actually we have a very intensive project in this sector. We have 1,000 kilowatt electricity generation capacity from the clean energy. From the clean energy to nation. We have to do some exploration and practice in this sector. We do some electrolyzer project in some very picturesque region, and we also do some build some station, hydrogen station, in Yangtze River. We also work with other groups to build the ship using hydrogen power. And next year, it will be in operation. So we also do producing hydrogen with alkaline. So we in Yichang city of Hubei province. We also do produce alternatives for the traditional energy. In the Mongolia, we just won a bid for the PV projects of 400 kilowatt, and we like to use the PV to do a lot of a large amount of work on building alternatives for the chemicals. And so we just started our exploration in the future. We also would like to strengthen the research and the development and science technology in such sector. We hope that we can win the support and coordinate with everyone here. Thank you, Mr. Jing. And as an energy enterprise, so we're talking about double carbon path. It's the first is alternatives for the renewable energy. The second is alternatives for the electricity. So hydrogen is very important. Except that in chemical industry, so the green energy is also very important in this sector. And at the same time, we'll tell you why Chief Information Office is in charge of hydrogen. And then we would like to give the floor to Director Tao, General Manager Tao. So my name is Hao Zaishen. Our headquarters is in Beijing, and we do the fuel battery production and the research. And we belong to we're the pioneer of in the sector of manufacturing of a fuel battery So our business scope covers a wide range of area, and we have a whole product chain. So our products has covered the vehicles from to trucks and all these high energy vehicles. And so our products also is used for the largest amount in nationwide. So our products are all pioneers in the sector. In 2019, we settled in Jinkai district of in the economic development region district of Chengdu. We see the rich resources of water and electricity in Sichuan, which is the main reason for us to settle here. We would like to make use of the strength of the Sichuan and settle here to promote the ecosystem of the hydrogen power. Ever since our settlement in Chengdu, our plan is to build 10,000 energy engine production and also the hydrogen power station. And currently, we have already built the biggest hydrogen power station in Southwest China. So every day, the production volume reach 10 million to ensuring the effective operation of 170 vehicles here. So the millage has already exceeded 5 million kilometer. At the same time, in April this year, we have also launched a demonstration line for the trucks using hydrogen. And now we're talking about the details of the implementation and delivery of the project. We're also cooperating and discussing with other enterprises in Sichuan about the application of hydrogen in vehicles and the trucks. And after we came to Sichuan, after these 2 years experience in Sichuan, we could also see the speed of the development in the industry of hydrogen energy. And I could see that there are a lot of policies and the measures initiated by the government. We could also see it's very hopeful and with good prospect in the future, and we wish to see more progress made. Thank you. We are very proud of your company because you are the pioneer ever since 2008. Since your inception to today, you have experienced a lot, and it's not very easy. And later, he will give us more information, and then we come to the train. So we'll invite Mr. Tao. Good afternoon. I'm Tao Shiyong, General Manager of Sichuan Rongchuan New Energy. Our company is a new company with an old team. In the hydrogen sector, we started to use the fuel battery in a real transit ever since 2008. So it's been 13 years. And in 2019, we have established a science technology transfer company. So the director of board is the head of the Institute of Electricity and Gas. And so the institute also is a stakeholder of our company. So we have also experienced the process of production, learning, and research. In 2016, we have issued the first railway train using hydrogen. So under the backdrop of the energy transformation, we took the path without subsidies. because we focus on rail transit. Rail transit is very different from a vehicle because we'll have a budget for the whole project. So we'll have a detailed quotation of every element in the project. Therefore, in Europe, in Germany, in the UK, over 50% of the railway is not electrified. And so in Germany, in UK, we have the rail transit application project from Siemens, and also in BRI countries. We also have a lot of trains using hydrogen power, replacing the traditional ones. And we also have 25% of the railway in China, which is not electrified. So, and this kind of mechanism, so we also have our strength. And based on our experience, we focus on rail transit. The second, we also focus on specific engineering vehicles, and now we also tap into the ship industry. And this year, we have established an innovation center for hydrogen power, and we have also initiated a project in Bohai Sea. And so currently, in it's a very good big project. We work with the ship company and the ship designing institutes, and to co-work on this project. This is a new exploration, including that we also settle in Chengdu because Sichuan has rich resources of water and electricity, and also the railway from Sichuan to Tibet. We know that there are very rich resources of water and electricity. So we believe that we could have some supply station along the railway from Sichuan to Tibet. The supply station, and including the emergency equipment, and also include the emergency equipment kit. It has its strength. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tao. I'm prepared a question for Mr. Tao. I'd like to ask him because the Sichuan to Tibet railway project has been formally started, and now we are working on the construction line of the Ya'an to Linzhi. This is great change. And in the meantime, why can't we start these Chuanzang lines because of the very difficult problems relating to the constructions, and the power supply is also one of the problems. I'd like to ask Mr. Tao, is that possible for us to combine that with the hydrogen power? Because several years ago, we engaged in the sky roads of the Xingneng, and we're hoping that the hydrogen power automobile can be applied. And thank you, Mr. Tao. Due to the time constraint, and we'd like to ask a directly related question for each panelist. Mr. Hao, just now Mr. Hao mentioned that the government subsidies, but to be frank, I believe that we have 5 pilot city clusters, but the project for having these 5 cluster cities has been delayed, the schedule. The schedule has been delayed. So what does it indicate? These 5 demonstrative project city clusters, and in Chengdu and in the mid and the west of China, there's no such demonstrative project. So what's your view? I think this is quite an interesting question. I like to put it in a simple way. And as we know, the hydrogen power development trend has been fully acknowledged and recognized by the general public. The development of hydrogen power has been involved in many aspects. There are many constraining points can also be found. And we are also looking very much forward to the coordination and cooperation. And in this regard, when the government was formulating the demonstrative policies relating to the hydrogen or the fuel cell cars, the government is hoping to encourage the cities with the foundation and the infrastructure to pioneer the hydrogen power development. It will not call for every city, every enterprise to strive for the resources or to get engaged in the very disorderly competitions. And I think this is the demonstration, I think. And at least government has a full consideration as well. Government, we are hoping it's going to be a quite a standardized, it shall be a well-functioned development. We are hoping that with regard to the three demonstrative city clusters, these three city clusters shall play a leading role. And in terms of the infrastructures, laws, and the rules, and the supportive systems, shall be perfected or shall play a leading role, play a demonstrative role, then other cities can follow up and get involved in. I think this is great. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hao. I asked quite a tough question for Mr. Hao, and I think he had one sentence which I agree with. We're hoping the government policies shall be targeted policies which can really forge ahead with the industry development. And now, why Mr. Jin, who is a chief information officer, who is in charge of the hydrogen power, Mr. Jin, yes, he really gets involved in the informatization, and Mr. Jin accumulated the very ample experiences regarding the information related to the international major projects. And Mr. As we know, there are so many hydropower projects with the information management is the profession of Mr. Jin. And Mr. Jin used to work in the Gui'an new area in Guiyang City. And he actually got involved in the big data development of the Guiyang City. Therefore, the Three Gorges group group has get involved in the new projects, and to the top leaders of the Three Gorges group code is willing to look for a very capable person. And Mr. Jin, from the perspective of the informatization, as we know, be it Mr. Tao, be it Hao, they have the decades of years of the commercialization, which is really a innovation-driven industry. So what about pathway? How can we operate? Yes, the hydrogen power is not quite a mature industry. And for our country, and the government has defined it as a strategic emerging industry. And for such a task, it will call for a number of innovations to drive. As we know, the Three Gorges company focused on the new energy and the clean energy development. To put it simply, with the hydropower and the wind power to translate this power into the electricity, our biggest customer is the state grid, of course. But against the background of the carbon neutrality and carbon peak, the hydrogen power is on the top of the agenda for a long time. The popularity of the hydrogen power is always very on the top of the agenda. But just like the other speakers pointed out, we do not have a real size and scale for the industry. We are still in great need of the scenario for the application of the hydrogen power. If we want to, we are all talking about the green hydrogen, the energy development and the supply will be constrained by the electricity. Yes, the green hydrogen accounted for the very tiny parts, be it the upstream, the green electricity supply, be it the manufacturing of the hydrogen, and we have very small size and scale for the production of the green hydrogens. So if you cannot develop the size and scale of the production of the hydrogen, you cannot minimize the cost or to lower down the price. And for the electrical replacement, after decades of the efforts with the investment of more than 100 billion RMB, we have almost finished the work of the latest the version of the products. But the hydrogen powered vehicles, which are the future for the wide range of application of the hydrogen powered vehicle, is not very ideal. And therefore, our Three Gorges group has been wondering against the background of the carbon neutrality and the carbon peak, in addition to the traditional energy. In the context of the replacement of the carbon neutrality and carbon peak energy, especially for the green hydrogen, we are hoping to play a bigger role. Therefore, we have stepped up our efforts based on the previous presentations. So what shall we do to produce more green hydrogen? We just set up the hydrogen power technology and application center. And Mr. Liu, we have hired Mr. Liu as our director of the innovation center for the green hydrogen technology. And according to our management judgment, it's not about innovation because replacement is also equivalent to the innovation. We are about to choose the future feasible pathway. And in this regard, we need to have some creative thinkings as well. The big scenario is transportation, of course. And especially, we have chosen the replacement for the petrochemical products from the green hydrogen. And the replacement for the traditional petrochemical products will contribute a lot to minimize carbon emission comparing with the this is about 1,000 kilograms, but it's and at this very time we shall persevere and persist. And on the one hand, we are looking forward to the policy support from government. And now I'd like to say a few words about the sector of the transportation. On the one hand, we are looking forward to the very enriched the production of the green hydrogen. On the other hand, we have focused on the application scenarios for those the vessels in the Yangtze River, those transportation ships and the vehicle and the vessels, the eco conservation, especially for the diesel powered ship, is going to really damage the ecosystem of the Yangtze River. Therefore, in the future, we are going to have richer, the bigger application scenario. I think maybe in the year of 2022, we can successfully manufacture the hydrogen-powered ship, if we can replace all the traditional diesel-powered ships with the hydrogen-powered ships, it's going to be quite profitable. Especially in the Hubei province, we together with the China Postal to sign the strategic cooperation agreement to jointly to focusing on the logistic vehicles. You mentioned about the dumpers, the dumping trucks, and powered by the hydrogen. Maybe in the future, the dumping trucks in the mines will be in great need of the hydrogen power. And the hydrogen power is going to VS the electric trucks. And we have enjoyed great opportunities. For one of the projects, we successfully won the tender is in Russian Federation. And we have negotiated with the Russian side about the heavy-duty truck. And for the future application scenarios, we are going to focus on the hydrogen-powered heavy-duty trucks. But recently, in terms of the mass scale and the size, we also focused on the replacement for the traditional petrochemical materials. At least for the 2,000 tons, because we have had the very developed the petrochemical companies in Yichang of the Hubei province. And when it comes to the technical roadmap, we felt quite regrettable that we didn't hear the introduction from the European companies, introduction about the German companies have worked on about dozens of the megawatts project in California of the United States. Therefore, we shall start with small. I, together with Mr. Liu, yes, first and foremost, we shall start from the science and technology research, and after that, as we know, we have distributed PV. It's going to be compatible with the state grid. We also accelerate. We are trying to make it become a closed loop. We are trying to make it technically feasible. Maybe in the future, when it comes to the mass production, the scenario shall be in for the new energy, clean energy, or the hydropower. In the Tibet autonomous region, the solar power is going to be quite vast, because the Tibet has enjoyed a quite ample accumulation of the solar powers. In the Inner Mongolia area, Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region and Shanxi Province, the carbon emission is 1 to 29. If the PV produced hydrogen can replace the diesel power and the traditional coal power, it's going to be really great. Resulting to the coal power to regulate the peak of the electricity is also something we are looking forward to trying. In Inner Mongolia, with a series of the research and developments, this is an industry chain, to be frank. Be it the hydrogen power couplings and the equipment at the downstream of the industries and the compatibility will call for the research and development, experiment, pilot programs. This is a all scenario experiments. On the other hand, if it's not profitable, it's not supposed to be sustainable. Without the cheap electricity, it doesn't make sense for us to produce the green hydrogen power. And as we know, the electricity is about the 24 cents, which is equivalent to the price of the natural gas, but it's still much more expensive than that of the coal. And the innovation driven is going to be necessary for us to fulfill the closed loop. Yes, I used to specialize in the information, but now I'm working on the innovation. This is quite challenging job for me. And the experts, let's make the joint efforts. And in the future, we can really, including the hydrogen fuel cell, uh, are produced in the factories in the Erdos of Inner Mongolia region. And let's jointly to set up the ecosystem of the hydrogen power. The ecosystem is quite a buzzy word nowadays, especially at this very special juncture. It's also the windows periods of the policies, and we have the technology and the economy constraint. Let's make the collaborative efforts to innovate the whole industry ecosystems and then to come up with industry chain and the finance chain. And I firmly believe that with the combination of these three chains, and we also need to introduce the new technology from the European countries. I believe this fair is going to put together the hydrogen industry in China, the replacement of the green hydrogen of the traditional hydrogens. And currently, the green hydrogen is not the mainstream. And I believe that maybe in the future, the cost for the electricity will be gradually slashed. And with the innovation of the state grids and energy storage, we still have quite a promising future. Our Three Gorges Group Co is willing to cooperate with our partners and colleagues to make our contributions to the national strategy of the carbon neutrality and carbon peak. Thank you, Mr. Jin. Personally, I had a lot of discussions with Jin. I'd like to summarize for him. First and foremost, we shall figure out the scenario for application. So what can support the engineering application, including the policy innovation, technological innovation, and the ecosystem is quite necessary. And the ecosystem is going to call for the participation of the different stakeholders. We are hoping that, and also congratulate Mr. Jin to change from the position of the CIO to the CTO. And now we also want to listen to the Mr. Zhu, who worked as a guy specialized in innovation in state grid. What do you think of the relations of the state grid and hydrogen power? The state grid as a enterprise, a state-owned enterprise, now against the backdrop of the carbon peak and carbon neutrality, and President Xi Jinping asked us to build the new energy-oriented power system. I think this is a compelling obligation for our state grid. And in terms of the hydrogen, so what is the role of the hydrogen, the power, the role of the hydrogen power can store the energy. And nowadays and in the future, especially when it comes to the new energy, the hydrogen power cannot be replaced, especially from our state grid perspective. Be it the volatility of the new energy, such as the power generation of the solar power will produce at night, and it will call for the clean energy storage at night time, and then transmit it at the peak time. It's going to be quite ideal for our state grid. Not long ago, I read a paper that the hydrogen power ethically, which is a quite optimal way of the energy storage from the perspective of ethics. And our demonstrative projects are not large-scale projects, mainly focused on the distributed clean energy storage and the hydrogen and the power coupling. And to the best of my knowledge, just like Mr. Jin pointed out, the feasibility, economically feasible idea. And I remember that we used to work a demonstration project of the 300 kilowatts of the PV in the year 2007. At that time, the cost is about 20 million. But nowadays, by the year of 2021, the cost for 10 kilowatts PV plant will only cost about 50,000 RMB. As time went by with development of the technology, the cost will be less. 3060 is going to be our target for the next 30, 40, or 60 years. From our state grid perspective, we believe that the green hydrogen is going to support us, and it's going to be a future direction. And in addition, and in terms of the technology, be it the technology, be it the government policies, be it the business modes, we have leveraged the hydrogen and accumulated more experiences, including the construction of the demonstrative projects. We are going to encounter. Yes, this is quite a dangerous chemical products. In terms of the approval of the government policies, it's quite a long process, time-consuming process. The application of the new technology, not really quite advanced comparing with the government policies and regulations, especially when it came to the hydrogen power. We still need the standardized technical standards. And with regard to the business modes, we are also trying to explore that with the reduction of the cost. How can we achieve the seamless connections? We figured out that according to the energy administration of the NDRC, supported the electronic chemistry energy storage, and the electronic chemistry energy storage with the lithium are not supposed to be sustainable, and the hydrogen is something sustainable, and it's about something. This is quite an ethical issue because it is quite clean energy at least. Thank you, Mr. Zhu.
And in the delivery of the project, the new technology, there might be conflicts between the new technology and the policy. We have to pay more, exert more effort. And then we move to Director Wang. You're the last one. So see if the equipment can support what we discussed just now. Every year, the manufacturing of the electrolyzer. So every project will be 100 to 250. And just now, you mentioned the figure, and we wonder if you can and enlarge the project. So please talk about from perspective of the cost of equipment and the scale of the equipment and what kind of changes will occur in the next 5 years. Just now, I'm very I endorse what guest speaker said just now. By using electrolyzer to produce hydrogen, and in a short term perspective, if it can have a big development, the scenario is very important. Be it the large technology R&D center or some other enterprises, you have to understand the essence of this making of hydrogen. If we say that there are some projects of 100 MW, and the first is China Petrol. So the Sinopec actually use electrolyzer to produce hydrogen power. Before we only have 2 to 3 big equipment making factories. So the highest might be 200 to 300 MW. So now 2 to 3 factories are not enough. So we know that there are a lot of enterprises to first is to improve their productivity to 15 MW is not enough. So now regarding materials and the technology, to 7.5 MW is what we can do in terms of material processing, and so this is the highest we can achieve now. And in the future, for myself, I think from a personal perspective, with the increasing of demand, and also from a perspective of participants, a number of participants, I'm also confident that the new technology and new material will be revolutionized, such as what we said, PAM, the proton PAM, and also electrolyzer, and also high temperature water. We start the exploration already. We know that there were some breakthroughs, but in short term, can we achieve the level all the professionals are talking about? I'm not sure, but this is a certain direction that we will work towards. And from the perspective of production, I think the large-scale application is in Sinopec and also petrol and also steel. And for every 1 ton steel making will emit 100 and more than 1,000 million carbon dioxide. And we're talking about nuclear electricity. So where I use hydropower as a solvent, and it will reduce will cut the carbon emission. So our initial intention have not expected that the big large-scale application is in steel or the methyl alcohol. There's few projects in the large-scale production of hydrogen, but there's some other forms of application of hydrogen. In such way, we will reduce the cost of electricity. And our policy, we say that the electrolyzer should be used in the industrial park But for some special usage, the different forms of hydrogen power production might be approved, it but it's possible that one station taking care of several substations, and the amount of hydrogen power making will be very large. So this is what I would like to share. Thank you. Thank you for Mr. Wang. I'm not sure how many of you here or online are in this sector, but I actually perceive a very huge business potential and business opportunities. We actually short of time, and thank you so much. But before I conclude, I would like to introduce a latecomer for this forum. Mr. Chen, from the General Manager from Shell Hydrogen, and later he will give a speech. That concludes the roundtable session. Thank you.
感谢几位嘉宾的精彩分享啊！因为我们时间严重超时，我们今天
Due to the time limit, we have skipped over the coffee break. Let's directly start our promotion. As we know, in the context of the carbon peak and carbon neutrality, the energy transitioning and green development will call for the common efforts from different stakeholders. And therefore, we have invited experts from the different fields of green development to share with us about the latest developments and opportunities. We'd like to give the floor to our joint organizers. They are Madame Zheng Rong, the Chengdu the Productive Force Promotion Center. Madame Zheng Rong. Good afternoon, and I'm delighted to have such an opportunity to share with about our S&T service. And during the roundtable discussion, a lot of experts mentioned that the development will call for the scenarios, markets, and the technology, and the interaction of the production, research, and study. And therefore, our role is quite important, and therefore, we are going to share with you about the S&T Innovation Service in Chengdu City. During our daily work, we have many enterprises. They will find out that I cannot find out government role. I don't know. My trade partners, as early as the 2014, the Chengdu has set up a S&T innovation platform, which is called the Kechuangtong platform, pulling together all the S&T innovation service resources in Chengdu. We are hoping it's going to be a team more for our science and technology. And in the process, what do we need? What product do we need? And we can realize that. And we can fulfill the very enriched product. And we can also to set up our own brand. And in this regard, we have concluded more than 30,000 S&T enterprises, include the 6,300 S&T SME and 6,100 high technology corporation and 107 Chengdu specialized S&T enterprise. With so many tech lines, it will enable us to precisely promote it to the different service providers. And in this regard, we are doing the profilings, including in the hydrogen power sectors. There are many enterprises from upstream and downstream of the hydrogen power sector. This is profiling will enable us to come up with precise matchmaking. Now there are more than 800 service organizations and 2,000 S&T products and varied innovation enterprises. Once the enterprise come, I'm looking for the locations, the resources, and the talents, and this platform will provide everything you need according to the 5+5+1. And at the current stage, I'm working on fostering the S&T innovation resources roadmap. We're hoping with such a roadmap, we can to have a better understanding. And next, the popular products. Yes, according to the previous speakers, in the process of the commercialization, we are looking much forward to the funds. And in this regard, we organize the government, the policy support and the funding support. We have the government strategies and trainings and guidelines. The most important is that we have the investment, loans, granting, and the subsidies. In Chengdu, we have the 400 million angel investment funds and the 300 million intellectual property rights operation funds, investing in about 124 projects with the total investment of 900 million. Last year, the year of 2020, there are some of the angel investment funded enterprises listed on the stock market. Next is the intellectual property operation fund. In this regard, we have set up the 70 and with the size and scale of the 2.2 billion RMB. Last year, we have dedicated to about 600 million, together with the three gorgeous assets and Dongfang Capital. We are looking very much forward to the equity investment. If you have the interest, you can communicate with us. We can encourage the relevant funds and authorities. And secondly is the loan granting for the enterprises, especially the enterprises of the science and technology, many of which are leveraging the IPR. They have no property. It's very difficult for them to have access to the loans. And we have allocated 468 million RMB, and we have collaborated with the 23 financial organizations. Until now, we have already issued the credit loans of around 13.2 billion RMB. I felt quite proud that all the 12 enterprises in Chongqing listed on the board of the science and innovation are receiving our grant loans. The Jimmy used our loan grantings as early as 2016. We have, and in this regard, this is quite targeted those S&T enterprises, especially those SMEs. And on March of the 2021, and focusing on the talents, the research, and fruits, and we have related loan grantings, and we have issued about 1.2 billion. And we also have many subsidies to help companies to minimize the cost of the finance, including the equity subsidies, the angel subsidies, and the listed company subsidies. In Chengdu, we have a unique policy which is angel investment subsidies, and we are going to allocate about 10% of the angel investment. If you can have access to this investment, there's no problem. And in addition, for those listed company, we have the subsidies as well. with the launching of the Beijing Stock Exchange, we are going to have more channels for financing. And next, the commercialization and the technology transferring is going to be the priority for the Tsinghua Energy Research Institute. Is also the new type of the research institute by us. We have accumulated 100 billion technology contract signed, and in the process of the innovation entrepreneurship, we will need the incubation, and we have about 268 incubators and 21 state level, national level incubators. If you want to have your presence in Chengdu, you can contact us. Last but not least, we have our own branding event, including today's fair is also one of our event. We have the innovation and entrepreneurship conference. We have the training workshop. We have the contest of the innovation and the entrepreneurship. And we also have the Jinrong Hui, which invites the entrepreneurs to come into the campus and the scientists to come into the campus